Ever see those headlines about some crazy scientific breakthrough? And you're like, whoa, okay, that's cool. But like, what does it actually mean for me?
Yeah, totally.
Like, does this impact my life in any way?
Right. Is this going to change anything?
Exactly. So that's exactly what we're going to do today. We are doing a deep dive into something that seems pretty revolutionary in science,
Yeah.
creating artificial cytoskeleton-like structures using RNA. And this could be a really big deal in how we think about and maybe even address aging.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you hit the nail on the head. We've been checking out some super interesting research on these RNA artificial cells, and the potential here in anti-aging research is huge. So today we want to kind of cut through all the complexity and just break down what it all means.
Yeah.
So like, what kind of problems could this tech solve when it comes to aging, and, what does the future hold?
Right. So let's start with the foundation here. The articles mention the cytoskeleton a lot.
Okay.
Now, you might remember that term vaguely from like high school biology,
Yeah.
but why should we care about it if you want to stay, healthy and feel good as we get older?
Okay, so think of the cytoskeleton as like the internal support system of a cell.
Okay.
It's a super intricate network of these fibers, and it gives the cell its shape.
Hmm.
It's like a highway system
Yeah.
for transporting things within the cell.
Okay.
All these little molecules going back and forth.
Uh,
And it's super, super important for cell division when cells multiply.
so it's kind of like if our cells are tiny little houses, the cytoskeleton is like the foundation and the beams and the walls, like holding everything together.
Exactly. And just like a foundation, it can, get weaker and less effective over time.
Right.
And research shows a clear link between the deterioration of this, cellular framework and the aging process.
Mm.
When the cytoskeleton isn't working well, our cells get more fragile.
Oh, right.
They can't repair damage as quickly.
Mm.
And all of that contributes to that, overall decline we experience as we age.
So what are these beams and walls made of? The articles mention specific proteins.
Right. So traditionally, the cytoskeleton is made up of proteins,
Right.
primarily actin and tubulin. These are the workhorse molecules that come together to make those structural filaments inside the cell.
Right.
And for a long time, these have been seen as like the essential building blocks of this crucial cellular infrastructure.
Okay. So that's the traditional way things work. And this is where it gets super interesting. Scientists have now managed to create these cytoskeleton-like structures using RNA.
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 Ah,
The molecule we usually think of as the messenger carrying genetic instructions to build proteins. So how on earth can RNA also do this structural work?
well, what's really fascinating here is we're learning that RNA is much more versatile than we thought. We've known for a long time, like you said, that it plays a role in, translating DNA's blueprint into proteins. But what scientists are finding now is that RNA can fold into incredibly specific three-dimensional shapes. It's almost like molecular origami.
Molecular origami. I love that.
Yeah.
So instead of just being a messenger, it can actually become like a fundamental building material at the cellular level.
Precisely. And this ability to kind of, self-assemble into defined structures. It's
Wow.
already being used in nanotechnology, like creating these super tiny machines and tools.
Wow.
And now, like we see in these sources, researchers at Heidelberg University have taken this even further. They've figured out a way to make RNA molecules organize themselves spontaneously. It's like, imagine nanoscale Lego bricks just clicking into place.
Yeah.
And they form these complex network structures that look a lot like the natural cytoskeleton.
That's mind-blowing self-assembling RNA nanotubes.
Huh.
And this isn't just theoretical, right? Like they've actually tested this out.
Yes, and that's a really important point. They've done experiments with simple cell models,
Okay.
and the early results are really promising. These RNA nanotubes actually stabilized the cells and made their structure stronger. This suggests they really can function like a natural cytoskeleton.
Okay, so now we've got this brand new tool, artificial cytoskeletons made of RNA. Let's bring it back to the big picture, longevity. How could this change anti-aging science? The sources mention a few key areas.
Okay.
Let's start with cell regeneration.
All right, so if we think about aging,
Yeah.
one of the big things that happens is our body's ability to repair and regenerate cells, it slows down.
Yeah, like when you get a cut, it takes longer to heal when you're older.
Exactly.
Right.
So the exciting thing here is that By using synthetic cells with these artificial RNA cytoskeletons, we might be able to boost the regeneration of damaged or old cells.
Okay.
It's like giving them a much stronger internal framework
Hmm.
and potentially offsetting that age-related decline in tissue repair. I mean, think about it. Right now, trying to fix damaged tissue in older people, it's slow.
Yeah.
And it often doesn't work that well.
Right.
These RNA scaffolds could be the key to unlocking a whole new level of regenerative power. Like, imagine being able to reverse damage from things like osteoarthritis
Wow.
or heart failure in ways we can't even really picture yet.
So it's not just about patching things up. It's about, like, helping the body rebuild itself.
Right, exactly.
Even as we get older.
Yeah, so this enhanced structural support, it could lead to more efficient cell division. So you're creating healthy new cells to replace the ones that are damaged.
Okay.
Or what we call senescent. And this could be huge for age-related diseases, where loss of tissue function is the main problem.
Makes sense. Another potential use that's mentioned is targeted drug delivery.
Okay.
We hear that term a lot. But how do these RNA artificial cells fit into that, especially for anti-aging?
Well, one of the biggest challenges with a lot of drug treatments, especially for age-related conditions, is getting the drug exactly where it needs to go without affecting healthy tissues.
Yeah.
And these RNA artificial cells, they might offer a really neat solution.
Okay.
Because we can engineer RNA molecules with specific sequences, like a code,
Okay.
and very precise 3D shapes.
Right.
We could design these artificial cells to be like tiny delivery trucks, carrying these therapeutic compounds
Okay.
directly to specific spots in the body.
Okay.
Think like damaged tissue, or even, targeting age-related dysfunction at a cellular level.
Wow.
Very, very precisely. Imagine delivering regenerative compounds directly to, let's say, an arthritic joint, or to cells showing those early signs of a neurodegenerative disease.
So that sounds like it could really reduce the side effects we often see with regular medications.
Yeah.
And make treatment more effective by focusing its impact.
Yeah.
It's like having, what do they call it, like a smart bomb, but for medicine.
That's a great analogy. That precision is key.
Yeah.
This could totally change how we treat all sorts of age-related conditions,
Yeah.
minimizing the effect on healthy cells while getting the most benefit right where it's needed.
So the third potential benefit that's highlighted in these articles is preventing cellular breakdown.
Uh-huh.
We've talked about how the cytoskeleton is involved.
Right.
But how could these artificial RNA structures actually proactively help prevent that breakdown as we age?
Well, we've talked about how a weaker cytoskeleton is a big part of cellular aging and dysfunction, right? So the idea here is that these synthetic RNA structures, they could act like reinforcements or even replacements for the parts of the natural cytoskeleton that are getting damaged. And by bolstering this, internal support system, we might be able to keep those cells working at their best for much longer, and essentially slowing down aging at its most basic level inside each individual cell. Think of it like, giving our cells a scaffolding upgrade, helping them withstand the stress and wear and tear of time more effectively.
So it's kind of like giving our cells a structural tune-up.
Yeah.
Like helping them stay strong and functional even as we get older.
Exactly. It's about keeping those cells healthy and making them last longer.
Okay. And then the last potential advantage mentioned is the possibility of understanding the aging process better.
Yeah.
How can creating these artificial cells actually teach us about what happens naturally as we age?
So this is super interesting.
Okay.
By building these synthetic cells and studying them very closely over time, scientists can basically create this simplified model where they can control everything. To see exactly what changes happen in cells as they age, we can manipulate different factors in these artificial systems and see how it affects the stability and function of these RNA cytoskeletons.
So these artificial cells aren't just a potential treatment. They're also like a powerful research tool.
Exactly.
To help us crack the code of aging.
Understanding the why behind aging is just as important as figuring out how to stop it.
Yeah, totally. Now, this all sounds incredibly promising, but the articles do make it clear that this is still early stage research. So what are some of the challenges we still need to overcome to see these benefits in real life?
Well, the first thing is, while the results are exciting,
Yeah.
this is a brand new area of research. It's like we're just getting started.
Right.
So one big challenge is scaling up the production of these RNA artificial cells
Okay.
to a level where we can actually use them for, widespread applications.
Right. We got to figure out how to make enough of them.
Exactly. That's a big technological hurdle.
Okay.
And then we need to go beyond these simple cell models. We need to test how well they work and if they're safe in more complex biological systems.
Right. Be sure it actually works in, like, a living thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And eventually, we'll need human clinical trials. There's a long road of research, development, and, getting approval.
Right. Got to make sure it's safe for people.
Exactly.
Okay. So to sum everything up,
Yeah.
what's the key message here for people who are interested in, staying ahead of the curve in science?
So the big takeaway is that we have this incredible potential to use RNA, a molecule we thought we knew a lot about in a totally new way, to build artificial structures inside cells. This breakthrough could completely change how we think about aging and lead to totally new ways to live longer and healthier lives.
And just to recap quickly, the potential game changers here.
Yeah.
We're talking about much better cell regeneration, more precise drug delivery for age-related diseases.
Right.
Actually preventing ourselves from breaking down as we age.
Yeah.
And understanding the aging process better.
All of that. It's very exciting.
Yeah, it sounds like we're on the brink of some truly remarkable advances.
I think so, too.
So, to wrap up our deep dive, here's something to think about.
Okay.
Given what we're learning about how cells work,
Okay.
and the power of synthetic biology to manipulate these systems,
Right.
what could the future of human health and lifespan really look like? And maybe even more importantly, what are the big questions we as a society should be asking ourselves now
Yeah.
as this field keeps developing? It's pretty mind-blowing to think about.
It really is. It's going to be interesting to see where this all goes.
Absolutely.